Hi, I'm MiGHTYMAX and Team Endpoint, and welcome to Above and Beyond, where I'll be giving you insight into the world of Pro CS in hopes of improving your own game. So coming out of spawn, it doesn't really matter what spawn you have to throw the smoke. It takes a little while longer than normal anyway. So the way that we do it is we run across this wall, hit the back wall, and if you have a normal crosshair, it's a little more easy to line up, but we aim on the tile here, go a little bit more left. Now, normally your crosshair the tip of the crosshair would meet the window here, but I use a dot, so it's a little more tricky for me to throw this. So hopefully it lands. Yeah, and basically the deep yellow smoke looks a bit like this, right? So it comes out quite a bit on the T side of the ramp, but for the CT, covers everything in deep yellow. Now the main benefit to this smoke is that it counters the T one-way that they throw. So if I just throw the nade again, and the T's throw a one-way smoke, then obviously like they can't jump into yellow and abuse a one-way, right? That's the main benefit of this, but also there's more. So secondary benefit of this is that actually getting yellow control means that put pressure down the ramp. So now if you're throwing this deep yellow smoke, often what teams will do is they'll throw a higher ramp smoke, right? Like something like this. Now what you get as a CT is ultimately you get all of this with the big smoke in here. And then you have a easier way of coming out onto this platform and spamming down into the ramp. So those are two benefits right there. You got to counter the one-way smoke, and then also you have this spam potential down on the ramp. So another benefit of this deep yellow smoke is actually it gives you a slight one-way here in the like sort of bottom half of yellow. So if T's try walking up slow ramp, then you have sort of a one-way here to kill them. So one of the last benefits to the smoke is that, let's say the smoke's down in here. If the T's are actually scared of contesting the ramp, then you can basically start the AWP on A, and you can flash him out into this sort of high position up here, and after some time you can Molotov the bottom left angle in the ramp player, and then it's almost like having full banana control on Inferno. Like you all hold to this line here, and it's very hard for the T's to flash him off, as he has all this cover that he can dodge flashes with and kill the T's trying to retake. So going now onto like the drawbacks of this smoke. So one of the most obvious ones is that compared to a normal ramp smoke, this smoke takes a little bit longer to land because of how you have to line it up in the connector and how it ultimately lands down here. It takes a little bit longer than a normal ramp smoke, which means that the T's can actually abuse this a little bit and gain more ramp control than they would with a normal smoke. So yeah, you lose a little bit of ramp control early round, trade it off with more yellow control essentially. So moving on to the T side, I'll explain a little bit about the one-way smoke. There's a few different ways to throw it. This is kind of my go-to way. You sort of stand in this corner here, aim at the corner of the box and jump through. So this is a very good smoke to throw if the CTs are throwing the regular ramp smoke, just because it enables you to creep into this bottom yellow and have a one-way over the top here. So depending on your lineup, you might have a different line of sight. Sometimes you can see towards top of ramp. You should always be able to see the top of the rafters here. But essentially what this does is very uncomfortable for the CTs to fight. So when that smoke is up, this is kind of what it looks like with CTs, is that they have to spend time spamming it or even using utility with different lineups. And also depending on the smoke that you throw, it can make it a lot harder for the CTs to Molotov, because if they throw anywhere into the smoke, it should be put out. I don't know why that one's not been put out, but so one of the main benefits to this one-way smoke is the pressure it puts for the CTs. So if you imagine that you have a T inside here, put a bot in there for now. For the CTs, it looks like this, right? So they have no idea if you're in or you're out, and they have to spend time either spamming it, which obviously gives away their position, or they have to try and Molotov it in a way that it actually mollies. So you have to get it right in the corner here. That's not easy to do from ramp. Like obviously you can have a kill from the one way, right? So that's one of the biggest benefits, is that it's very uncomfortable for the CTs to play versus. It also creates a lot of pressure on A from one person doing a smoke. So now the additional benefits of this is that you can actually bring teammates with you. So for example, let's say you throw gap smoke and the one way, all of a sudden you have half of the ramp control that you want. You have a lot of presence here in yellow and this one way over the top here that you can hold the ramp with, so that your teammates can actually surprise the enemy if they're trying to counter with Molotovs or spam or whatever it is. Your teammates can actually walk all the way up and catch them off guard. So that's a way that you can incorporate it with your teammates. But if you're playing alone, something that I think a lot of top teams right now are doing is actually varying how they use the smoke. So let's say, for example, you want to do a B round, your teammate will drop you an extra smoke here on A ramp, and you'll set up B nades or whatever. You can start the round by doing instant one-way smoke, picking up the second smoke, and then the CTs will obviously react by spamming the smoke, taking some ramp control, taking yellow, and then after their smokes fade, you can then redo a one-way smoke and then crawl into it, right? So it's not just an early round thing that you can do. You can actually incorporate this into A ramp retakes or mid round pressure if you're an A lurk on A ramp. So some of the drawbacks of this smoke in particular, it depends on your lineup essentially. There's a couple different ways you can throw it, but like I was saying earlier, like if you do different lineups, it might make it a little easier to Molotov or to counter. So like this one here, for example, there's more area on this metal to Molotov it. So I would say this is not a great one-way smoke, but then you have more cover to lurk up the ramp, for example. Whereas the one that I normally throw back here, it lands closer to the metal, so it's hard to Molotov, and it's a guaranteed one way over the top, right? So that's one thing with the smoke, is that you have to be very particular with your lineups and how you want to use them.